Hi, good morning here at Babylonstoren. I just want to show you one of the most beautiful areas this time of year, which is our Clivias, or otherwise known as the Bos lilies here on Babylonstoren. We have a few different collections in our display of Clivias, with the very first coming from Hans Roos, and then subsequently a collection from McDowell that we are displaying here within the puff adder. Very recently we received a beautiful collection of one Billy Rule, whose son donated his beautiful flowers that they and his family can come look here on Babylonstoren when it's in bloom. Look at this beautiful flower of our Kirstenbosch Supreme that's flowering here today, with its stunning orange petals and its very slight fragrance in the flower. Not all of them have a very good fragrance, but this particular one, it has a very nice smell. When we're looking at the puff adder, this beautiful structure behind me, this was built actually to house the collections of Babylonstoren, the McDowell collection that we have received. Please follow me and let's look what some species we have within the house. So one of the plants that is really unique is this beautiful variegation of Clivias. This particular one has an orange flower, and when I'm looking at this plant, I actually I can really tell the color by just looking at the stem. At the base of this particular plant, there's a little bit of red coming out of the stem. So I have an inkling that this flower could have been orange or a red colored flower. Where other Clivias don't have color at the bottom, where it's just plain and simple, the chances are it could be a yellow variegated flower. Let's continue and look at another species. So looking at our Clivias or Bos lilies, we have 6 species of plants. Of the 6 species, 5 of them are found on the east coast, and 1 very special, miraculously found on the west coast, called your mirabilis. Here in front of us, we're looking at one of the plants from the highest altitude in the area around God's window, is our coalescence. With its long stems, can grow up to 2.5 meters tall. In our collection, this is a hybrid of a miniata crossed with a coalescence, giving you this unique colors, dark on the outside with lighter colors on the inside. Next in our collection is our nobilis. So nobilis was a plant taken to England, to Kew Gardens, because they found this new plant in Africa, in South Africa. This was taken to Kew Gardens and was put on display there, and normally the plants will get their names once they show their flowers. But Lady Charlotte Clive Florentina, she was given the plant to grow in her little glass house, and when it flowered there, they named it after her. That's why this is Clivia nobilis. How do we know the plant? If you look closely at the leaf, it's got this beautiful notch here at the top, but what you can't see, and when I rub my hand over it, it has a serrated edge. Many people don't breed with this particular type because it's one of the slower growing Clivias that we have in our collection. So when people are breeding and looking at it, they look at the faster species of your coalescens and your gardini. What is special of some of them is this red stem, very much like what the mirabilis have. It has a red stem at the base, and like I say, the notch, and so you'll breed sometimes for the leaves of your Clivias. One of my favorites when it comes to stems that really shows us something unique is our Clivia gardeniae. If you look very closely at this stem, it has this beautiful veining that comes through that you don't really see on any of the other plants. Whether the plant is a very small plant like this, it will still show the veining to the bigger species. What I also find when people are breeding with this particular Clivia, it gives you flowers early in the season if the mother plant was a gardini, and if you're breeding on, normally it's been bred with a miniata. So you have your early flowering. Some of our species here will flower as early as May month, all the way till the middle of July. So these are our early starters. These are the precursors to the amazing show we will normally see here during the spring season on Babylonstoren. Then you have other nice, beautiful plants. This one is for me particular interest because when I look at the name of the clivia, you'll notice here's a name with an X and another name. Here you can actually see where it was bred from, and in this case, this pinky peach was a Kentani yellow, that's from nature, found in Kentani, and Oribi Gorge yellow, then gave you this beautiful pinky blush plant. So McDowell was very interesting. When he collected his plants, he worked together with John Winter. That's why in his collection you find plants from specific growers, but also from nature which was collected. Another interesting one is your Poor Man Peach, and again Kantani and Sky Chase. So you can just see the differences of this plant already bred in nature. This one was from a very prominent grower called Nakamura. I always say, if you know you are breeding beautiful clivias and you want a specific and beautiful collection, in your collection you need a Nakamura. So in this case, this is a yellow Nakamura. This is a Kabuka cross with this beautiful yellow flowers. Let's swing around. This plant, together with the British that were looking at the clivias, naming it, they took it to parts of Asia, where this particular one was found its way to China. For them, that heating in the house, it wouldn't flower as well, and they focused on these very, very beautiful leaves. Thickened leaves, all in a row, and if you look closely, if I rub my hands over these beautiful veins, and in this way, because they kept their plants indoors and in-house, they would actually clean the plant with their hands. And looking, when they chose the species, they chose them specifically for these markings in their stems. And so when they wiped it, it's like having a massage on your hands with this beautiful plant. What they also grew for was the perfection, the movement of the plants, all in a line. They would actually turn the plant when they grew it within their houses, that the plant would actually get light from all sides, that the plant's leaves don't turn towards the light. They would turn the plant, move it. Imagine you had 3,000 plants, turning all these plants specifically that it can have this beautiful, beautiful show. On this one, this is a Picaninjurama, which stays small. That's why smaller pot, small house, small plant. And this is what the Chinese have bred. And today it is now in the genes. After 150 years of breeding this plant, that indentations, this shape is actually bred into the plant itself. It will stay the small size. Again, a very interesting plant which later joined, as late as 2002, they found the Mirabilis plant. In our collection, we have the crosses of Mirabilis. So it's a Mirabilis hybrid grown with other species. We have an early flowering variety that's already flowered, which is a Goblin. Goblin, I already know, is a Gardini type bred onto a Mirabilis plant. So what the grower or McDowell was trying to do here is have this beautiful red stem of a Mirabilis that can handle a lot more sun, because in Nivotville area, the plant has to grow in tough conditions. If this plant falls out together with another clivia plant on the floor, I would already know just by looking at the leaves of this Mirabilis, its thickened roots, because of its difficult areas growing. The roots are bigger and bolder, as thick as my thumb, that you can actually spot, but this is a Mirabilis, just looking at the way the plant is growing. And other hybrids, if you look into it, the leaves are thickened and hard and has to hold on to moisture. This plant in this area wouldn't know when it's going to rain again. So it has to hold on to as much moisture. If you look at the clivia itself and the shaping of the leaf, it's almost like it's been built to collect water. As the water hits or the dew will reach on the leaves, it will actually center it down to the most important part, this lower stem. So the clivia itself is a rhizomous plant. Babies will form underground, and those will then make new plants coming out the base. In this area of our puff adder, we've got this stunning gum tree. Clivias has to grow in shade. And here we have the gum shading this area so that the plants can look beautiful. I love having clivias grow into an area where there is deciduous trees. Deciduous trees will lose its leaves during the winter time, actually giving the clivias more light. They will grow, they can handle the low UV during the cold winter period. But as soon as the sun comes out, it gets warmer, these trees will immediately start growing new leaves. So in ours we have the oaks growing around this area, this beautiful eucalyptus where the kids can swing, with some very, very old olives and even some white stinkwood growing in this area. Perfect conditions for growing clivias. Look at this very beautiful yellow of a Floridale bred on a diorama. Again, all leaves shaped to the center. Different growers like to breed and grow for different reasons. Some of them grow for color. Other people would grow for the shape of the leaf of the plant. Some of the flowers are tulip shaped. Other plants have recurved petals. So let's see if we can find some that we can show you. Here, for instance, is a beautiful Kirstenbosch from Piet Olivier, with this almost slightly recurved petal, very big if you look at my hands, the size, and this beautiful umbel shaped flowers. Right next to it, slight variegations, a lighter in color with its yellow center, even some having this stripage in. So clivias will always surprise you, giving you a surprise every season when they grow. This one again, very interesting for me. This is a Florida white lips. This is a picotee clivia. If you look inside there, look at that white stripe. Most people would see picotees normally from growing petunias. When you choose for picotee, this is a picotee that people will then use and breed into the area. Now we've come to the end of our walk through our beautiful puff adder. In the next while, in the month of October, we have some workshops that we will be presenting. Some of the workshops we have is Grandma's Fig Preserve, a taste of spring. So that is, in Afrikaans they say it so beautifully, die voorvye. It's that fig that was sitting in the tree from last season that didn't get a chance to grow. It's that first fig that comes out of that plant that will actually wait till all the other figs are ripe. Those are then taken off and a beautiful sweet jelly is then made. Another workshop is making crowns here on Babylonstoren. On the 20th of October we have Garden Day. A day that you guys, myself, has to rest and say to yourself, well done for a great gardening season. Because from here on in, it's going to be work, doing and getting the garden, your vegetables growing. Another interesting workshop is the healing power and the healing of herbs that you can then do with, I think, Gundla and Constance, these beautiful herbs from our healing garden here on Babylonstoren. Scratch, making pasta from scratch with olive pesto. That's one of our new workshops, as well as plant your heritage fruit orchard and veggie garden. This is all happening this October here on Babylonstoren. Please come and join us. I had a fantastic workshop with the Clivias this year, with amazing people that allowed me to share a little bit of what I'm having. I'm not working when I work with Clivias. I'm just having a hell of a lot of fun. I was talking earlier about the recurve and tulip shaped Clivias. If you look at this, this is a perfect example of a tulip shape. The leaves are not open, very close. And in this case, this plant is a dark red Clivia. A lot of the dark reds was actually grown in Belgium. But right next to it, we have this beautiful open recurve. So varieties is the spice of life when it comes to your Bos lilies and Clivias. So this very area was chosen by Mr. Hans Roos. When he came and walked with his family, he saw the stream with its beautiful trees and said, I think this area needs to be gifted Bos lilies or Clivias. And imagine him walking through here, seeing the beauty of all these plants. Sometimes I think in the Cape we are blessed with our cold wind, our cold temperatures. Sometimes we are blessed. Look at that amazing green that we have inside some of the flowers. With us, it's very intense when we have these cold winters like we've had this year. This year was quite tough growing the Bos lilies because we had so much rain, over 300 millimeters of rain in this area. But because the Bos lilies are planted amongst all these beautiful trees, the trees help up to take up all that moisture. We plant them really on top of the soil with a whole lot of compost. And then they will just sit at the top of the soil, growing very happily with its fat juicy leaves. And then this is the show that they will give off this season. I would love you to come and join me. Love you to come and have a look at what we have on display for you this year. So thank you so much for taking this walk through the bush lilies with myself, Brent. Please come see me during the week. Come talk to